Hello and welcome back to Cybrary's Microsoft Azure Administrator AZ-103 course. I'm your instructor, Will Carlson, and this is episode 3, Azure Free Setup and Portal Overview. In today's episode, we're going to get into and sign up for your Azure free tenant or your free Azure account. We're also going to spend a little bit of time exploring some of the features and navigation in the Azure Portal itself. Going right into the internet, you can navigate to azure.microsoft.com/free, and that will get you to this page. Now, a little bit about this free offer that you should be aware of is you get 30 days free of $200 worth of credit here in the United States. The offer there is going to vary depending on your country of origin. You also get 12 months of some free services regardless, and there are 25 plus always free services here in the Azure tenant as well. If we scroll down a little bit further, you can see a little detail about what is included for free for the first 12 months. I would advise spending a little bit of time getting familiar with the free offer so that you can make sure while you're going through the AZ-103 course and preparing for the exam, you don't end up with any unexpected bills. Now, we will be going through relatively early in the course some things to help you keep an eye on the spending within your Azure tenant, but be aware of what the free offer really includes just as an extra safeguard. Now, signing up for a free account here or a free tenant is relatively simple. You'll click here, Start Free, and you can go ahead and sign in either with a Microsoft account that you already have, or if you want to demo the Azure tenant a number of times or extend your time in the free tenant as well, it's not necessarily a bad idea to create another free email account, register that one. That way you can register another account later to continue your training. 30 days is not the longest amount of time to prepare for AZ-103, but do with that what you will. You can always go ahead and sign up for a pay-as-you-go account and just be mindful of what resources you're leaving on at any given point in time. Now, I'll spare you the details of going through and filling out the form here to actually get the tenant up and running. This is going to be familiar to you. It's essentially the same as signing up for any other online account. Now, I will call your attention to at least one caveat here, and that's that during the process, Microsoft will ask you for your credit card. They will not bill it. I've been through this a number of times. Once your free trial expires, you have to upgrade your subscription to a pay-as-you-go or another type of subscription. So Microsoft will not charge your credit card for the free tenant. You will have to input that credit card information, though, to verify your identity. Quite honestly, I believe this is just a step for Microsoft to make sure that you don't register for a bunch of free accounts, because if you reuse the same credit card number, they recognize you as a repeat user. But again, you will go through the process, input your credit card information. They will send you an email to verify that you own it, plug that code back in, make sure you select free account. You'll have a couple of options, but free is obviously the one that you're going to want. And then you'll be in and registered with your free account and ready to go. Once you have your free account all set up, you can simply go to portal.azure.com and enter in your credentials. You have the option of saving those credentials or not. I've gone ahead and saved those credentials. I find that it makes life a little bit more simple, but again, only do that on a machine that's clearly not a public machine. And that's all there is to getting into the Azure Portal or the Azure free tenant. We'll explain a little bit more in future episodes what a tenant really is, but this is your Azure tenant. And there are a couple of interesting things about the portal itself here as we go. First of all, I'll call your attention to this gear icon in the top. You can click on that and change a number of settings for your personal account here and how it behaves, how long it keeps you logged in before it logs you out. You can change the color scheme. You can turn on or off toast notifications, and they're called toast notifications because the notifications pop up here in the screen, I suppose, kind of like a piece of toast. But if you don't want those popping up over the screen all the time, you can go ahead and disable those, and a number of other features here as well. In addition to customizing the portal settings here, the portal has a number of really unique features to help you manage your Azure environment more effectively. And the first one I want to call your attention to, I can show you if we come here to All Services. And you'll see that there are a bunch of services here in the Azure ecosystem. Now, fortunately for us, AZ-103 in no way covers all of these services. You will not need to know even the slightest bit of anything about all of these services. So one of my goals here for the course is to call out those services that you will need to know and be aware of for the AZ-103 exam. But to facilitate our navigation here within Azure, you see these stars, and these simply favorite something and put them here in the favorites column for you. So if I wanted to favorite, let's see, what's another good one here for us? Let's go ahead and favorite tags. And you'll see that drops tags down here into the favorites list. The other thing I want to call your attention to is that you can simply move these things around and put them in the order where you want them, and you're good to go. You can also go back here to All Services if you decide you don't need that favorite anymore. Unmark the star and the favorite goes away. So if you find you're spending most of your time in storage, virtual machines, networking, whatever section or blade of the portal that is, you can put those over here in your favorites. That brings up another great point. All of these windows, as it were, are called blades. So during the course, if I mention going to a certain blade, or if you're doing labs that mention blades, all they're saying is go to the screen that talks about that. A number of these blades will slide left and right as you navigate further down into the blade. So we're at a very high level view of this blade currently of resource groups. But I can go ahead and drill down into the IT resource group, and that's a blade down within this blade. And you can see the navigation goes side to side. I can continue to get further down into here, and you'll see it continues to grow. Now, once you get a number of layers deep, you'll notice a scroll bar here across the bottom, and you can slide that scroll bar to essentially go back to the left or back in time. There's also breadcrumbs up here at the top to help you navigate where you need to go. You can always come back here and go back home, which is where we are right now when we first log in, and you can always get back there by clicking on home. One other quick thing I want to call your attention to are the fact that the blades will also shrink down. So this navigation blade will shrink, but you'll also see as you're deeper into the blades, you can shrink these as well if you need some more screen real estate and bring them back out. The last thing I want to spend a little bit of time on here in the portal is the concept of dashboards. You're going to see a number of places here within the Azure ecosystem that you can pin things to your dashboard. And that really is a function of making Azure more custom to you. And instead of causing you to have to edit the dashboard here, as you are using Azure and you come across interesting information that you would like to keep and look at later, it's easy to pin it from right there back to your dashboard. But while we're here in the dashboard, you can see that you can add a new dashboard. It's going to do just that, and you can rename it. We're going to be really original here and rename it. And then you can add things into your dashboard. Simple drag and drop, put it where you want it. Now within some of these components on the dashboard, you can change the size of them. So we've made this one smaller, make it really big. Clearly you can move them around. And then when you're done with this dashboard, you just click on Done Customizing. And there's our really original, totally worthless new dashboard. To get back to the one that we had before, we just pull it down from the list. Something else that's particularly useful about dashboards here is that you can download dashboards from GitHub, for example. So if you find a dashboard that's laid out particularly usefully for you, you can go ahead and download that dashboard. You can also share that dashboard. So if you're lucky enough to have somebody on your team that likes to do this type of work or comes across a bunch of good metrics that you would like to see as well, they can share that dashboard and you can pull it into your account for Azure in the portal as well. As we go along, again, you'll see a number of times where you can pin things back to this dashboard. I think you'll find that the dashboard is a very helpful tool. The ability to share them, upload and download them, and create multiple dashboards here is very useful. So in today's episode, we talked about how to get your Azure free tenant set up, and That's really pretty simple. The only gotcha as a reminder there was watching out for having to input your credit card information. Microsoft will not charge you, and making sure you select free for the account type at this point. We also went through Azure Portal, spent a little bit of time looking around, seeing how many services there are there. And because there are so many, Microsoft thankfully has allowed us some ways to favorite the ones that we use frequently, put them in an order that we want as well. The last thing we talked about today was the dashboard and how customizable that is, and that you'll be able to create as many of those that you want, share them, download them, import them. The dashboard really is a powerful tool. I strongly encourage you to take advantage of customizing that to your end need. Coming up, we're going to spend a little bit of time getting some Azure command line tools ready to go, both for the course and for our administrative lives going forward. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how much scripting is going to be present on AZ-103 and some ways to help you survive scripting on the exam as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to the scripting episode coming up soon.